Hello everyone, today we will learn about the operating mechanism of disconnect switches. The operating mechanism is a set of mechanical devices for operating disconnect switches. It is independent of the disconnect switch itself and is connected to the switch body via linkage rods. As shown in the picture, see the figure, according to different working principles. There are manual, compressed air, hydraulic, and electric types. As shown in the picture, see the figure. The most commonly used types are manual and electric. First, let's introduce the manual operating mechanism, as shown in the picture. The manual operating mechanism uses human power as the driving force for operation. It is a type of operating mechanism. It is commonly used indoors or for outdoor disconnect switches with lower voltage levels. The upper right picture shows an indoor application. The lower right picture is used for operating outdoor grounding switches. The lower right picture shows the operation of outdoor grounding switches, the manual operating mechanism. There are lever types and turbine types. Its structure is shown in the picture. It mainly consists of a base, operating handle, positioning device, and auxiliary switches. Its features are simple structure, low cost, low maintenance workload, but it can only be operated locally. Next, let's learn about its operating principle. The right picture shows the CS6 type mechanism structure diagram. The solid lines in the picture indicate the closed position of the disconnect switch. The dashed lines indicate the open position of the disconnect switch. When the disconnect switch is in the closed position, the pivot joint D of linkages 9 and 10 is below the dead point. To prevent the disconnect switch from accidentally opening due to electrical forces, the arrow indicates the direction of the handle rotation during the closing operation. The arrow indicates the handle rotation direction during the closing operation of the disconnect switch. See the figure during the opening operation. Pull out the pin at O1 axis. Rotate the handle 1 clockwise downwards by 150. The link 9 will rotate upwards clockwise by 150 through link 10, driving the sector rod 6 counterclockwise downwards by 90. The pull rod 3 is pulled downwards, driving the arm 4 clockwise downwards by 90, causing the disconnect switch to open. The pin at O1 axis automatically locks in place. The closing operation is the reverse sequence. Next is the CS8 type mechanism. In terms of structure and principle, it is simpler than the CS6 type. The diagram is shown in the picture during the opening operation. Pull out the positioning lock device. Rotate the handle clockwise by 90. The shaft connected to the handle drives the transmission linkage of the disconnect switch. Under the action of the transmission mechanism, the disconnect switch opens. Conversely, it completes the closing operation. Next is the electric operating mechanism. The electric operating mechanism uses an electric motor to provide the operating power. It is a type of operating mechanism, as shown in the picture, compared to the manual mechanism. It has a larger torque, flexible operation, smooth action, better sealing performance. It can be operated locally or remotely controlled, achieving the automation of disconnect switch control. It is widely used for operating the main or grounding disconnect switches in 110 to 550 kilovolt systems. The electric operating mechanism structure is shown in the picture. It mainly consists of a motor, reduction device, electrical control part, and other accessories. Among them, the motor is a three-phase asynchronous motor. It is the power source of the entire operating mechanism. The reduction device includes gears, worm wheel and output shaft. The output shaft is connected to the transmission system of the disconnect switch. The end of the worm is a square shaft. For manual operation, the electrical control part includes a transfer switch, control buttons, open, close, and stop buttons, contactors, limit switches, thermal relays, and auxiliary switches to achieve control of the electric operation. Other accessories include lighting, heaters, etc. Next, let's look at its operating principle. When opening, Press the open button. The coil of the open contactor is energized. The contact closes, connecting the three-phase motor to the power supply. The motor rotates in the opening direction. After reduction through the reduction device, the torque is transmitted to the main shaft. The main shaft rotates 180. The main shaft then drives the transmission linkage of the disconnect switch. To open the switch, when the main shaft reaches the open position, the locator on the main shaft activates the micro switch, cutting off the control power. The motor power is also cut off. The motor stops, ending the open operation. When closing, the principle is similar to opening, but pressing the close button connects the closing circuit. The motor reverses. The main shaft rotates in the closing direction, closing the switch. Throughout the operation, we only need to press the corresponding start button, which is very convenient. This is the advantage of the electric operating mechanism. Of course, besides electric operation, the electric operating mechanism can also be operated manually. When manually operated, first set the transfer switch to manual position, then release the manual lock. As shown in the picture, insert the handle and rotate it as indicated. It can also achieve the final opening and closing of the switch. Alright, today's content ends here. Thank you, everyone.